The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
LA, straight up. Just go out to LA. The new anthem,
California Love Part 2.
One time.
To live in Don, LA. West side, west side, west side. To live in Don, LA, where everybody try to fatten their pockets. So many hustle.
Well, hello. God bless you, community family, and welcome to Gang Talk. And you see this most extraordinary gathering of people here tonight. And what a blessing. Let me just take a moment to say what a blessing this is for our work, to have these outstanding people share this time with me tonight. I can't tell you how grateful I am, so grateful and so honored and so blessed to know each and every one of them. It's proof that God does and can and will do. And they're the evidence, and this is my testimony, and they're the evidence of this walk and the work and the people committed to doing it. So I'm not going to be emotional. I promised I wouldn't, but I got joy. I got joy tonight, not sorrow, and I'm just so filled with gratitude and love and thankfulness. So before I get carried away, I want these special people to take a moment and introduce themselves and let them tell you what brought us together. Go on, girl. You start. We'll start with ladies first. How about that?
Hi, I'm Jennifer.
In the mic, girl. You know, we got to hear you. Yeah. Huh.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Rivers. My son's name was Tevin Price, and he was murdered in my face on May 29th, 2015. At the car wash.
At the car wash. Because
over
of the
some red Chuck Taylor shoes.
Yes.
My name is Demisha Lofton Thomas. My son, 21-year-old Jarek Thomas, was murdered. Next month would be 3 years. And I just so happen to be kind of related to Jennifer a little bit.
Yeah. Cynthia.
My name is Cynthia Mendenhall. I'm a sister soldier from Watts.
Don't you get emotional. Okay.
My son was murdered. Anthony Tony Owens Jr. While I was doing the work, I was helping plan somebody else's son's funeral. I was with the father, helping him when my son was murdered the same day. And it knocked on our doors, a lot of us who's doing the work.
No immunity. Jaime.
He tall.
I'm so blessed to have you guys here. This is a blessing.
My name is Jaime Gregory, also known as Rare Breed. I'm a gospel rap artist and a peace advocate.
Yeah.
My name is Kevin Orange, humbly known as Twin. I'm a community interventionist, activist, and a peacemaker.
Yes, you are.
Hello, my name is Ben Owens, also known as Taco, and I met this lovely young lady about 11 years ago doing the work.
And more than that.
All right.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell it. Go ahead, because him too.
My name is Skip Townsend, and glad to be here. Thankful to God. Formerly co-host right here, Gang Talk Radio.
Yes.
And glad to be able to come back and share this night with you.
Yes. For two people born the same year.
Yes.
I told that joke, 1988. Skip and I was born the same year.
D29283.
Okay, and technically, it was a rebirth. That's really what it was. It was.
And what about
rebirth.
what's his name over here filming live on Facebook? What's his name?
Yeah, he's got to introduce himself too. Come on,
move over, Uwe.
Come on, pass that mic over so we can get his beautiful face.
How you doing? My name is James Farmer, and community activist. I come to pay homage to the Queen.
Yes.
You know, that's what we're here for, to pay homage to the Queen tonight.
Amen.
The sister that's been on the front line forever, and we just coming to show you some love.
Amen.
And you showed me some love. I mean, this is an outstanding surprise for somebody like me. And I tell you, honestly, I kind of met Skip and Taco at the same time because years ago, when there first became a ceasefire, I had been working with our grieving mothers, and we had marched all around this city crying and begging for mercy and understanding and recovery, anything we could get. And we started doing forums in Lamert Park about the gang violence and covering cases like Jean Cole killed in the crossfire, the grandmother killed sitting on a ledge in the crossfire, and prison riots, and the killing of Jamil Shaw Jr. So we were having very important conversations about this, thanks to Dr. Earl Lafari Hutchinson and the Lucy Florence twins that actually gave us a location to have these community meetings. And so Earl was generous enough to embrace the work that the mothers and we were trying to do and gave us an outlet there to meet and discuss this. And during those years of trying to figure it out and talk about it, this one and another soldier named Gerald Cavett came through the door. They took the seats in the back row. They listened, and before they left, they had to stand up and tell us we didn't know what we were talking about. And they were right. And it was just so funny because once I recognized who they were, how committed they were to the work, I followed them right out the door and went down a few doors from where we were meeting to the first ceasefire breakfast.
Second.
It was the second one. Yeah,
they wouldn't
I
let me in the first one.
Oh, okay, all right. Because you have to tell that story, Skip.
Go ahead, I'm gonna cut you off.
The beauty about it, the hall was filled. It was filled, and these were men from all over our community coming together to try to see if a peace process was possible. And so in the interim, I've met all these wonderful folks. I've known Cynthia before then. As a matter of fact, Skip and I were at a press conference for a young lady that had been killed the night before. And we left that press conference and came out and met with Cynthia over her son's killing the same night. And so it's been the hardest of circumstances to meet these mothers. But I tell you, it's been such a blessing to share with them, to meet men of this caliber, really working to change our dialogue, to change our spirit, to change our affection for one another, which is the village that raised me, when we loved and cared about each other, and no one in the village other than the lunatics would harm anybody in the village. So that's something that changed with the casualties that took our kids. I talk about the virus, and if you know anything about me, you know that I look at the big picture. And see where the harm came from and where it started and how it's hurt us so greatly. So God bless me to be connected with these folks right here. And it's a testimony of what he will do. And I just want you to understand that if you've been praying and you've been asking God for something, you have to believe, and then after the prayer, do the and do part. And do part. See, there are instructions after prayer. You have to get up and move. You got to do something. You can't just pray and wait for him to shower you, because that blessing you're asking for may need to cover other people.
Yes.
May need to cover other people, your neighbor, your children. You know, we just don't know. So these are and doers. I'm surrounded by and doers. And I'm so honored. I'm just going to be quiet right now, and I'll give you a chance to talk. You know, Jennifer, I asked you to come.
Oh, she the only one who's invited, huh?
Well,
all the rest of us crash the party. Huh?
Well, you're the surprise, okay? Because you told, look, Skip's supposed to be in lockup tonight, technically. Okay, I joke. He's back in prison, but for the right reasons. He's going in there to teach the men incarcerated how to set up mentoring groups to help themselves when they come out of lockup.
That's beautiful.
This is the part of the work that he's so good at. Good. So you want to speak first, since you used to be the co-host?
I want to know who was your guest last week. You got to thank them for coming.
You're right. You know what?
Who was that?
That was Terrence. Terrence Shepard. Terrence Bernard Shepard, bless his heart, and he brought Miracle with him.
Oh, the little baby.
Yes, and Terrence had actually.
Is he big now?
Yeah, she's big. She's big enough to reach over and grab the mic and tell you about her. Okay. Right. Yes, it was quite adorable. But we had such a real conversation, real talk about the whole picture here, the bigger picture. And it was really outstanding. But bless Terrence's heart, he was sick. He was sick. He had a migraine and let me know at the last minute that he wasn't coming, and you know how I am about that.
You probably drove down there and knocked on the door?
Oh, I threatened him. I threatened him. It's like, no, you cannot not come tonight. So I made poor Terrence get out of his sick bed and come down here and do the show. And because I gave him the hour, to set it up the way he wanted, and his guest wasn't coming either. Okay, because his guest was actually at the police department filing a complaint about a terrorist threat. It's like, wait a minute, time out, hold up, wait a minute. So that made the pressure even greater for Terrence, but it was an excellent hour to spend with our men talking about how we got here and how we're coming back and the difference you guys are making. That's the most important message to share. Yes, most important message. So thank you, Terrence, for coming.
Yes, indeed. So you're going to start with Jennifer? Jennifer's going to talk a little bit, then Dee, then Sister.
Well, I'm very honored, very, very honored to be here. And Sister Herron, you have been very inspiring, very... I don't know, you're going to make me cry.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that, okay?
You and every guy in here put my story out there when my son got murdered. You guys stuck by me. I never had that before, and I want to thank all of you. If I never thought to thank you, I want you to know I appreciate you. I love you for that. You're a very God-gifted man, and there should be more men out here fighting out here like we're trying to do, and I'm trying to be right behind you because it's important that we stop this stuff. Like, people got to stop being scared.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Yeah.
Like, my kids, they get upset with me when I go certain places. They be like, Mommy, you got to watch your back. For what? Who am I scared of? I wasn't scared when he shot my son. I chased him.
Yes, and stabbed him,
I
too.
stabbed him in his back.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I could have got him, I'd have cut his throat.
If I'd have been there, I'd have tripped him so you could get him. Okay, that's the way we roll.
But
you
know, you gotta. I'm a mother. Mm-hmm. My thing was, I tried to protect my son, all my kids from guys like this. Yeah. And you literally done this in my face. You're just a vicious. I don't know. And we just went back to court on December the 6th.
Okay. All right.
So they still got resentenced again. They went back trying to get the gun charge taken off of them because of the new law. And the judge said, oh, not in my court.
No.
I'm sorry.
No. No.
So
even the girl,
she got so mad she gave him 3 more years.
Okay, I'm not mad at the judge. See, because what people don't know about the backstory here, if you don't remember, Jennifer and her son were going on an outing that day, and they stopped at the car wash to get the car ready. And her son went around into the smoke shop where a cigarette store, not a smoke shop, not a marijuana dispensary. And when he went through the door, he was confronted about his red tennis shoes, and subsequently killed in front of his mother when he ran to her, looking for safety from this. And the shooter was bold enough to come and shoot her baby in front of her. In front of her. That's the shame That's the shame and the disgrace of all of these murders is that they're been committed by cowards in the most cases, by cowards and that don't care who they hurt. But this was so malicious that the community represented on those four corners, because Skip and I talked about, I don't know which corner is the one I'm not allowed to be on, so I put my feet on all four of them. But the community of corners turned their backs on this killing. They turned their backs on this killing. And the shame of that day is that the girl that was involved tried to intimidate Jennifer.
Yes, she did.
She tried to intimidate this mother.
Called me a snitch.
Yeah. Whatever she called you, she should have shut her mouth. See, because she's the one. Well, we're glad she didn't, because they picked her up first.
Yeah, she was the first one.
She was the first one the police arrested. Yeah, the same day. Okay.
Like 3 hours later.
Okay, and
the
we know.
investigating wasn't even over at the car wash.
Mm-hmm. But we know as a fact that once they arrest one of them, there's a domino effect to how we were able to get the rest of them. And that was when South Bureau made a commitment to get the killer of your son. So they actually had to. They
definitely made a commitment.
Yeah, they did, because they had to go to Houston to get the shooter, didn't they?
Yeah, they went to Houston and got him and brought him back.
Thank you. You hear that, family? So when we cooperate, the police will do what they need to do. But
and
if
one
we
of his
won't
family
help
members
them,
turned him in.
One of his family members.
For the reward. But they didn't get the reward.
Okay.
I'm keeping it 100.
That's all right, because it's
over with.
It's amazing. It's amazing that a family member would turn them in.
Yeah.
But then the other downside of that is that they did it to get the reward that they weren't going to get anyway. Well, folks need to understand, those rewards are given at conviction. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're not given for arrest. Mm-hmm. No, they're given out if your information leads to a conviction.
Exactly.
So
it has to be a good conviction.
Yes, it has to be a conviction, because if the case is dropped, you're not getting anything either. It has to be, and that's a fine line. So we don't want to confuse anybody about those rewards, because they're for real reasons and they're meant to get real help, which is something Hannah Bell hasn't received yet.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad about that, because I feel like I don't understand why they know that's a bad corner. It's been a bad corner since Quick and Split was there. Yeah. Okay?
You dating yourself.
Yeah, because
you're telling your age now. I'm talking about Quick and Split on 78th and Western.
We got
if you're not my age, you wouldn't know about that.
No,
okay, we got bad corners everywhere.
Yes, but that corner was really, really a bad one back in the day. And my uncle and them stay on 79th, right where you guys have ceasefire, like the next on St. Andrews in 79th, and they've been there for over 60 years. So I know about that corner.
Or is it the people?
It's the people.
I think it's the people.
It's the people. But I'm just saying they need more cameras, more things right there. When you know there's a bad corner or a bad area, you understand? I'm gonna give you an example. 88th in Vermont.
Okay, because that's another one.
That many people that got killed up there and murdered. Yeah. And they got a bookie joint over there. All the bookie joints.
Say that again.
Bookie joints.
Bookies.
Every bookie. Whatever, bookie.
But gamblers aren't the ones committing these crimes.
I'm just saying,
okay, so we're not going to go after the bookies. We're going to go after the corners. They're bad corners.
Because it's not all corners. Because my son was murdered he was shot on a corner, and he was shot on the corner of 54th and 9th Ave. Who's going in? Who's going through the residential neighborhoods down there shooting people? Now on the main streets, Lawson and Crenshaw,
And the truth is, after your son was murdered, there were a lot of casualties that followed that.
Exactly.
Same as Barbie Hughes' second son killed because of something that happened. And
what they say, 100 nights?
100 days, 100
nights. Yeah, that came up as soon as my son got murdered, right after that.
There have been a lot of bad
right
corners.
After that,
there have been bad corners in Inglewood. There have been bad corners in Inglewood, too. There have been bad corners in Compton. There have been bad corners in Watts.
But they're not going to speak on it in Inglewood because they're building that stadium. So they want to keep anything close to Inglewood on a hush.
We're not going to talk about Inglewood tonight because they're a non-factor in what we're doing because they're in denial. They're in denial.
Well, I'm going to say this because when my son was murdered, didn't nobody really come out. I had to make the noise.
Yeah.
I had to literally make a whole lot of noise.
Yeah.
And I was going to kill that kid and everybody attached to him. But every time I went to do something stupid, somebody bigger than me had me.
Had you.
Had
Yes,
me.
absolutely.
Every
Absolutely.
time. And when I couldn't smile on the outside, I just started a foundation, giving back to the kids in the community. Now I done started another foundation, The Crew. I'm also part of Moms Demand Action. Like,
Yeah, part of
Y'all
the
had
crew.
a cold picture the other night. I just want to say, man, I was pimping, brother. I should have thought it was about you.
Yeah, and
he got
you really should show that photo off because
Right.
that is phenomenal.
It was
cold
nice.
picture.
I seen it.
was.
I was
It
there
really
too. I
was.
could have did that, man. I just wasn't thinking.
Come on, James. Come stand over here. We can see that
Hey, come on,
picture
I'll
on
film
that
it.
shirt. Yes, because we went to, thanks to Barbara Pritchard Hughes, they had an event where they gave out honors to folks that have worked in the work for a long time. Can we see you, James? Come stand over here. This is a picture. James was honored, and this is him sitting on a throne, surrounded by the women he's been working with, and he affectionately calls them his crew. This is LaWanda Hawkins, Barbara Pritchard, UDD, Kathy Wooten, and Jennifer.
What's her name?
Yvonne.
Yvonne.
Nicole.
And who is
Nicole.
this?
Nicole.
Yes, because she's been on the show, but I haven't seen her very much.
Oh, Yvonne.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
she's
this
out in
Yvonne?
Pomona. She's
Oh,
out
okay.
in Pomona.
That would
But
explain.
her
it.
son is her son was Mont
In Pasadena.
from
Pasadena.
Pasadena. Yeah, he was also about to become an electrician.
And he had
took
got in
the test.
church.
He had passed. He was part of second call. Yes.
I just can't keep up. It's been so many, and there was another one killed just a few months ago.
Yes.
Well, young man, 23
Demetrio,
out
he was
there.
a plumber.
Yeah.
Local 78 got killed at Pasadena Rose Bowl.
Well, you know, in fairness to Pasadena and Inglewood, there is some apathy. There is some apathy, and people act like, no, it's not here. As you said, that football stadium's coming up, so now they don't have this problem anymore.
No, they have it. They just don't talk about it.
Well, they don't. And then the one thing they don't talk about is that police force they used to have that was responsible for their own murders. So,
Right, yes,
you
they
know,
were.
we've had to do a lot of work through the years, both on this side of the table and that side of the table.
The only one I know was keeping Pasadena on the map is Tony Messenger
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
for
He kept
years.
organizing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I went out there and did a couple classes for him.
Well, the point being is that these major
Yeah.
communities are in denial. They're not just talking
And
about
he
it. They
rests
act
in
like
peace.
it doesn't
And
exist.
Skip was doing Inglewood.
Mm-hmm.
for a little
trying
while.
to. He
Skip-
was
Well,
trying.
I had
doing
to
Inglewood.
stop when they voted for a new mayor, and the mayor told
Oh.
me in front of everybody that
No.
we don't have
We don't
a
have a
gang
problem.
problem, and
Okay.
I don't want to
Yeah.
hear that, and that's
Yeah.
not what our city represents. And
Yeah.
So at that point, I said, okay, I'll just wait for your term to be over. But then they re-voted him again.
Yeah.
And now the M&M's restaurant, which is $6,000 a month to rent, is about to be $14,000. So
Wow.
M&M's is going to close. Aunt Ruby's going to close. Chili Red's barbershop going to have to close because the rent is going up. And he said, well, that's the cost of business. But what's going to happen is all these black-owned businesses are going to be gone out of Inglewood, and we're going to have more Chili's and Ruth Chris Restaurant and more corporations coming in, and the black people just leave. And what's so
Can't afford
cold is that
$14,000
the
a
cold
month
part
in
is
rent.
we not even supporting each other. So I'm looking at there's a
That's sad. That's
on
a sad
Facebook,
part.
there's a group called Eye on Inglewood. And everybody from Inglewood is on this Facebook post, and they like, man, let them go. We need to have a sports bar. We need to. And I'm thinking, man, why would you do that? And they're like, man, you ever eat the food there, Skip? Like, it doesn't matter. That's
Doesn't
a black-owned. That's a black-owned
Yeah.
business owned
Mom
by
and Pops.
a black-owned black
Yeah.
lady. Why don't you support her, man? Tell her to put some more seasoning on food or whatever.
Yeah, like-
But we got to support each other because major corporations are not. And I don't want to see the growth as opposed to people losing their homes. The rent has went up. When I lived in Inglewood, I lived in Inglewood recently too, in 2015, the same time your son was killed. and my rent was like $800, and it went up to $1,000, and I got to complaining. Made me move to Watts. I moved into my ex-wife garage, but the rent now is $1,800.
I'm sure. I was expecting $2,000. I really was.
It went up to $1,800 since I've been gone.
There are some places that are higher than that, Skip, and you're right. They want the established businesses that have a chain name. Right. Okay, because those chains can pay that $14,000 a month rent. Right. They already have in a built-in market because they're recognized, like Starbucks. Everybody knows where dang Starbucks is, and sometimes you got three of them in close proximity to each other, but everybody knows what a dang Starbucks is. Chili's, you see. So small mom and pop businesses are having to compete with these major corporations behind the football. Right. It's because of that stadium, and so it's being gentrified, and small black business owners are being forced out. They are being forced out, and we don't have enough power as a people to affect that. Right. We don't have the power as a people, and this is why we're here, because we have to understand what casualties we're suffering. We as a people are suffering, and that's one of them, losing our black-owned businesses.
I think if everybody would get out and stop sitting around the table talking and put some action behind their words, I think it can happen. So we do have the power.
You're surrounded by actors. The problem is we can't get the apathetic to join you. That I'm calling out the apathetic. I ain't calling out nobody in this room, because these are frontline soldiers every day and have been for many years. These are folks doing the work that you all waiting for us to be successful at. And we trying to tell you we can't be 100% successful without you. You're the one missing in our story. They're not missing. They've never been missing. Okay, and the evidence is right here.
On this shirt.
In the shirt, right here. In the spirit, in the presence, right here, in the work. In the work. So.
Yeah, everybody, they be on social media. When somebody get killed, they want to say what we should do in the community to take our community back. But at the same time, they're sitting down.
They need to come to a Watch Gang Task Force meeting that meets on Monday. Where, Cynthia?
At the Watts Hill Foundation.
Watts Hills Foundation. What time on Mondays?
10.
10 o'clock, Watts Hills Foundation, Watts Gang Task Force, and Ceasefire meets.
Every Wednesday. I'll let Jaime, he's close.
Every Wednesday at 6:30.
Okay.
You can follow us on Southern California Ceasefire Committee Facebook and get all the information from there.
Well, see, because I wanted him to speak because he's an OG.
Right. Okay. That's a triple OG.
Triple OG. See, he's a triple OG trying to sit back here and not say anything.
I'm just OG. I'm out of gas. That's OG me.
One of the things, though, sister, one of the things that we did with Samantha, Hannah Bell's mom, is, and I'm looking at Cynthia because and these two ladies were here as well, we walked at nighttime, up and down that street. Talking about when the lights was out, 6:30 at night, midnight. It was dark. I don't know if it was midnight pitch, but yeah.
No, I'm talking about midnight pitch black.
Right, yeah. So
we can see.
So walking up and down the streets, talking to the neighbors, talking to people. What did you see? That is the true work. That is the real work. So going on Facebook, talking about what we need to do and who should do something or whatever, when everyone gets together like that and walks, that's the work that just can't be denied. Walking in the community, talking to people, and seeing what we could do. And I know that's been done a lot of times in Watts. It's been done in other communities. And that's really where we come together and are able to see that there are people who will speak to us who won't stand up and won't come to the meetings, but they'll come out and talk to us when they see us.
Talk to people that they see that are familiar
they wanted to
to
talk.
them.
They wanted to talk. They was doing their thing and coming up to us and coming out their houses, coming out the apartments, saying that they still around here, and just, we so glad to see y'all. And they want people like us to come. Not LAPD.
Oh, no.
Not the sheriff.
Nope.
They'll talk, but They don't want you talking if you walk with the police.
Mm-mm. No, well, you know what? The truth is the police cannot fix what's broken in us.
Mm-mm.
They can only arrest it, but they cannot fix it. They don't have the tools or the motivation to repair any damage. They really don't. And the sad reality is that our community is now having to confront Torrance again.
And
for an
Gardena.
unjustified
And
killing in
Gardena.
that city. And Gardena, too. And, you know, we need our community to stand up if we expect to
Yes.
get any results. Really, you can't ask them to go and do what you need to be joining them to do.
Yes.
So that's really the important message of this gathering tonight.
Don't wait till it knock on your door
Uh-huh.
to get involved. We need you now.
That
We need
part.
you now.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. So, Taco, you ready, James? You got something you want to say?
Of course, I always got something.
Come on. Come on. Somebody say something.
Well, we was giving out days. I guess now's a good time to bring this out. Starting the first Saturday of every month, I'm going to be hosting a brunch for a few of the mothers. It's going to be a brunch/therapy counseling session. So we're going to start having that for the mothers and the fathers that's out there. Kids was murdered and going through it, going to come sit down, talk, and fellowship together. So it'll be the first Saturday of every month, starting the 5th will be the first one. I got already informed a few mothers that's going to be hosting it with me. And every month we're going to, have some more mothers coming until it get bigger and bigger.
Where?
And,
Where?
Well, the location is going to be on Vernon and Brighton.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing that for you mothers, and it's going to be a brunch/therapy session.
Therapy.
And I'm working on getting
Yeah.
an actual licensed counselor to come through as well.
Yeah.
So if we need to, do some behind the scenes with them as well.
The fellowship is so important.
Hey,
The
I might have my
fellowship.
grief counseling right at
The
time.
fellowship really is what's critically important. And our mothers that are grieving, that don't have a place to go, don't have someone that they know understands what they're feeling. This is where you're filling a gap for them. And that's critical because I don't know that there is a healing. I just, I've been at this too long. You think there's a healing?
No.
No.
I don't.
Thank you.
It's fair.
I don't.
Yeah. We have to
You
tell the
have
truth.
to.
We have to tell the truth.
It all depends on how you look at it. Because
It's a healing, but then, if you're out here doing things like we're doing and keeping ourselves occupied, like me, being in this group and being able to help other mothers
Yeah.
that's walking in my shoes,
Yes.
it takes a lot of pressure off of me.
It helps.
And I'm telling you, it helps a lot.
It really
so,
does.
and I still see a psychiatrist. I still see a therapist.
Yeah.
I'll see one too.
So
me too. But
You have
at the
to.
But at the same time, I'm a good therapist, though.
I'm my own therapist.
Yeah.
I'm out there. God is my therapist, actually.
Well, the
So,
truth
I
is, the
praise
history
God.
has shown us very clearly that the only one that really understands is another mother. Okay, it can't
lost
be
her
a
child.
counselor that's never been on this side of the street, never been in this arena. It can't be a stranger.
That's why I'm working.
No,
Everybody
no.
is different.
Yes, everybody's
Because
different.
when I first got involved with Vicky, I've been with Vicky them and LaWanda them a long
A
time.
long time, yeah.
And I hadn't lost my kids yet. I had got involved because it was a lot of murders in Watts.
Yes.
And I wanted to know, how I feel and how could I talk to the mothers, because if you can't connect, you can't connect.
Yeah.
And so I started, Vicky started calling on me because Watts wasn't doing that. Watts wasn't involved. I was there when the ceasefire was formed. I was there when everything was formed. But when it knocked on my door, it was different. Because now you talking about peace. Now I want to murder somebody.
Yeah.
It's my son. Not only was my son murdered, in 97, LAPD killed my daughter's father in the Nickerson. So you fight for peace, then you got 6,000 people in front of you when they killed Chubb in the Nickerson. Marching, ready to take off. They're ready to decide a rock. Minister Tony came, stood in my living room and say, What you want to do? That's all we want to know. Every hood came when Chubb got killed. Sister, let's go.
Yeah.
I say, I can't. Because I fight for peace.
Well, you know what?
I can't step over the line. I got to get myself together.
But the
and
truth
I did.
Is, but the truth is,
you know,
the truth is, let's be honest about this. When our children have been killed, retaliation has been the first thought.
No, I'm talking about
yes,
LAPD right now. I'm talking about
with them too.
Chubb.
With them too. See, because
then I get to the point of
Cynthia, we have had a lot of trouble with South Bureau over the years.
It was bad.
That it took men like this and people like
Bo
me
Taylor.
to push
Let me
back.
piggyback.
Bo Taylor, yeah.
Let me piggyback on that. When I said we're gonna have counselors and everything, Dee Dee is one of my counselors. She don't know it yet that she's a counselor. So when I say I'm gonna have counselors, there's gonna be mothers that understand what's going on. So let me clarify that. And when I say Dee Dee, because you know nobody never gets over this, and God don't call you to do nothing that He don't train you to do it for. And I feel she has been trained, so that's why I'm utilizing her as one of my go-to mothers to speak with. So when I say counselor, it's gonna be mothers there that you can relate to, and I also got a father, and I'm working on another father as well, because the father story is similar to the mother's, and a lot of people don't hear the father's story because they be caught up in the mothers all the time, and the fathers grieve differently than the mother, and they hold it differently because that's where you get more of the revenge cycle at from the father's side.
And I do want to include this too, because we do have mothers that have their children killed by police. They need the same fellowship, the same understanding, the same gathering, because their hearts are hurt too. It's just that they have the extra thing. Law enforcement killed my son. Why did they have to kill him? They're supposed to arrest. Why did they have to kill him? And in some cases with South Bureau, we know they were hostile acts. They were hostile acts. So we really did have to go after them to stop that. And the last encounter that I was angry about was 4 young men killed in the summer of 2016 in 3 months. And all 4 of them were all under 21. And it's like they didn't say a word. You remember, Skip, because one of them was Cornell. One of them was Cornell. But they went about and killed 4 young men in 3 months, all 4 of them under 21 years old, and they didn't say a word.
And
it wasn't a word.
And everybody that's out here doing this work is highly trained to do this work.
Yeah.
Because they out here putting it in, and the track record, the proof is in the pudding.
Speak, Taco.
So,
come on,
you know,
add in this, Taco.
You know, everybody is trained for this, and just like I say, a lot of times I hear stuff differently than most people hear stuff when I talk to the mothers and the fathers.
Yes.
I hear a story.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't hear that, and I'm not saying I'm no saint or nothing. It's just God prepares certain people to do certain things. This was my calling.
Yeah.
The crew was my calling.
Yeah.
I can't be ceasefire.
Yeah.
I can't be second call. No,
Yes.
but a lot of people got a problem with trying to be something that they ain't. You got to be who God wants you to be. This is what I hear when I talk to them. I hear the pain. I hear the empathy.
Yeah.
So I could, you know, set a stage for them to be heard.
Yeah.
So everybody got to play their role and just know your lane to stay in your lane. You know, so and
but it's so many roles. It's so many roles.
That's what
some of them
so
do
many
cross
roles.
over. Some of them do cross over.
You got a Van Gogh
we're
up
not
here
trying
right
to
now.
hog any
People don't even
corners.
see
No,
it.
what I got a
Van
problem with
Gogh
is
up here.
clicks.
You know,
I got a
it's
problem
Van
with
Gogh up
clicks.
here, you know,
That's what I got a problem with.
Well, one of the
Clicks.
things, and I'm glad that we will have that platform for therapy. For we can
Yes.
talk. And therapy is it's a fancy word, but it means healing. I mean, we need a healing space, and for the mothers, for the fathers, and let's not forget about the siblings.
Yes.
So Twin is here, and I tell him this all the time. Twin is not his birth name. Twin is a name that was given to him because there were 2 of them.
Yes.
Which implies that it was him and another. So when I call his name, I call his brother's name, but his brother's not here anymore. And so sometimes there's this oversight of the siblings, because that sibling could go out and do that retaliation that the mother didn't do or that the father didn't do. So the therapy, the counseling that needs to take place is it's kind of dynamic for the whole family that's going to need that. So siblings are important. I just wanted to see if Twin could chime in because he's doing some trauma pieces in the county as well.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. But for those who's looking for a place of healing that you can go, we do have a facility on 120th in Wilmington that just opened up this year. So I know they got plenty of space in there to accommodate you for whatever it is you want to do. And as well for me, when I look among you ladies and the women out here that done, I don't want to say lost a child, that your child was taken from you. Wow. I mean, they not lost, they was murdered. Yeah. And so when I look at you women, you was almost like the Harriet Tubmans and stuff, to where you was going to have to sacrifice in order for God to show his light through you. And we don't, like I say, if he don't, I mean, it's like he had to show himself to anybody. He don't care what age, size, it don't matter. To get what he want across, he will use anything and anybody. And so I just want to, while we here living in the moment, I like to live in the moment like I'm here today. It is like, we don't know that, it's just like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X and them was living in their days. They never looked at themselves as heroes or people looking at them, but until they was gone. And so we living in today where we are the Martin Luther Kings and the Malcolm X's, the Harriet Tubmans. We live in our life right now. And we're never going to know that until we're no longer standing here looking at each other. So I'm proud to be here in the company of you, and it's not by coincidence. But, but like he mentioned, by losing my twin brother, I seen his spirit leave him before he was killed. Because after I hugged him, after I let him go, I turned around and I'm like, who is that? That was not my brother. You know what I mean? It's something that I really seen. And it's like, so it prepared me to deal with this, and the biggest amount of, women and men like this to help them through this, because there is healing in being in presence with each other. So always believe in that. It's healing and it's real.
Well, let's talk, because my son witnessed the paramedics dropping my son off the gurney onto his head where he was shot. He died 45 minutes later, but I didn't know they dropped him until the next morning. And then they lied on the medical report.
Yes.
Then they took 6 months to send me the autopsy report.
Let me apologize for that, because it was traumatic. There's no question about it. What brought them there was trauma, okay? And the injuries to your son were traumatic when they got there, okay? They're human beings. They make mistakes. Some of them don't deserve to be paramedics. But we don't want to slam the ones that came out and did the work at the hardest time. We really don't want to. And there have been accidents. I'm not calling this an accident. There's been some lack of consideration. There's been lack of consideration at the hospital. These folks treat us like, well, it's just another gunshot victim. What do you want? You get that kind of attitude, but you don't get it from everybody. And I can't fix that. Okay.
Well, let me just say,
we can't fix that.
I kind of beg to differ, because I'm not talking about the hospitals. I'm talking about the paramedics.
Yes.
And the paramedics, if you listen to the mothers, the paramedics do not come to the crime scene and aid the victim. They sit back and they wait for the police to come.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Let's give speed to that, yeah.
So myself and Taco, I guess it was 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
The young man, last name was Love. Elijah Love was shot, and he died in his mother's arms. Mm. So it just so happened that right down the street from a ceasefire meeting. So after talking to the fire department, they say, well, it is our practice, not our policy. It is our practice to wait to get cleared by LAPD.
Right.
We immediately went to Captain Green at the time. He was the captain of 77 and said, this is a bad practice. Yes. We got the fire department involved. And they said that with the relationships that they're building with the community, interventionists in the community, that they would be willing to go in. But their practice has always been, and there's only been a couple of captains from the fire department who would do it. Green, who was the captain, and 65 over there in Watts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said that he didn't hesitate. He's going in whether the police cleared him or not, because he knows the community, because he knows the people. So it's something that I believe that we tried to work on 2006, 2007, but we have to continue because now it's still happening as 2015 and 16.
Do you know that policy came out because of the 92 revolt?
Yeah, I live
That's
next
where
door
it
to the
started.
guy who,
Okay,
who was
they
an
didn't
idiot that
ask
shot.
us; they just implemented that after 92.
One of the firemen was shot by a guy, a guy named Kool-Aid, shot the fireman in the neck, and because of that. In 1992, they said, "Well, now they're going to protect the fire department. They're going to wait to get clearance."
Yeah,
so,
and the police and let's look at the whole picture. The police didn't come in until the shooting stopped too.
Sometimes,
sometimes they wasn't going to run in there until they didn't hear any gunfire. Yeah. So we've spent years trying to fix these things, only to find out some of them still are not what they need to be.
And the main thing is that we don't talk about is the fear. So when we talk about, if we talk about the police, we talk about the fire department, let us mention, number one, 80% of it is fear.
Yes,
they have a fear of the community. The reason why we have officer-involved shootings is because they have a fear of the community.
In
they fear our children.
When Henry Pico was killed that night, it was chaos, and he was still talking to us, just like you're saying, and everything, and they still didn't come. He died right there. When the LAPD, that's how the peace treaty started.
And you think about the fire department, same fire department for my son on Slauson and what is that?
It's off of Western.
St. Andrews or something like that. My son was shot on 54th and 9th Ave. But a year before, on 54th and 2nd Ave, it was a shooting at the motorcycle club.
Yes.
They had to drive to the fire department to get them to come around there.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. You know, I'm not trying to champion for them. I'm just not trying to indict the whole department. But I want to be real clear. For the kind of changes that we're demanding, we have to show up as a community.
I'm going to Washington.
Well,
you went to Washington, okay?
We have to stop calling the police. What we have to do is we have to call. There's a shooting. We cannot call and say, "Hey, there's a shooting," because the police come.
Yeah.
We have to say it's a medical emergency. Now, I know this man is shot, but I say it's a medical emergency. He's 25 years old. I don't know why he's not moving. It's a medical emergency. The fire department comes. And then they'll call the police. So what we need is the fire department there first. So stop giving a description to 911. They are not in charge of us.
Yes.
They
Oh my God.
They call and say, "What's your emergency?" Nothing about a crime. This individual is 25, 30 years old, and he is not breathing. I'm not a doctor. I do not know what to do. Please send an ambulance. That's it. That's all we got to do is call the
fire department.
That's how they train us now.
I agree with that. You know, and that's a message that needs to spread.
Really?
And the truth is, because this is the right time for me to move out the way. And I say that because the homicides have actually gone down, and it's because of the dedication and the work of the people that have been committed to doing it. You see, they really have gone down. One, as you said, is still too many, but it's not as many as it was when I started. That's my gratitude. It's not 1,000 like it was when we started. Every year, thousands of our kids getting killed in this nightmare. So the police wasn't going to do anything. They sat back and let the street implement the justice. And then they go out and check, well, we solved that case with his death. You see, so that's the way it's been treated. But because the homicides are going down on our side, now we're having the power to challenge it all. Challenge it all.
Sister, I was told that there ain't no retirement in this work.
Yeah, so where you going?
Just off the air.
Right. So where you going?
I'm just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there.
I ain't going nowhere.
I'm going to comment on that. Where you going?
I ain't going nowhere. I'm just moving out of this seat so the next wave can come in and take over.
Well, I'm going to say it's so much work out here, and I think this is the perfect time to really let America know that, you know, like, for all the different organizations, it's more than enough work. You got the ceasefires, the second call. You know, we got the, you know, my boy the Rare Breed. You know, we're finding jobs. We got my boy Twin tackling the youth. So we're not leaving nothing out. We got the mothers that we're working with, the fathers. So it's enough here for everybody. And like I said, we don't want to leave nobody out, and that's why it's such a blessing to be a part of a whole plate of food.
Yes.
You know, the whole plate got food on it.
Yes.
You know.
That's a great
Twin.
news.
I got some youngsters over here who's going through something I could call Twin. He got some youth programs for him. Taco is some young gang members over here. He got the intervention. Jaime, we got, you know, Didi, I got a new mother over here. Can we come have y'all talk to him? So our plate is full, and we got to continue to put food on other plates as well, so that we don't get overwhelmed with this work.
Yeah, that's good news. Jaime, chime in here.
Well, I think it's time for a rejuvenation of the peace effort. A lot of us been victimizers that have come together with victims and even became victimized because we was victims through losing brothers in the streets, whether they was blood brothers or not. We grew up and we retaliated based on that. And I learned a lot sitting at tables with mothers, fathers. I got a lot open to the work, a whole lot more healing process, losing two brother figures doing the work. It's a lot of pain. I think we have to restructure and go back. We focus on the outside problem, and we have internal problems we got to fix. We create a mess on this side of the peace table that we got to fix. It's a lot of hurt. It's a lot of bad blood on this side of the table, and that's why when the outside looks in at us, they see a mess too, and a lot of them don't gravitate to it. So I just feel we just got to do better as a group of people that say, okay, my group does belong with that group. Stop thinking that, you know, some people think highly of their groups and they don't want to do. Oh, I don't work with them. I got to respect your work. I got to look first and foremost away from my emotion. The reality of it, is it working? It's working for somebody over there. So I got to respect your work ethic, and we got to stand behind each other. It's a lot of back talk going on this side of the peace table. It's a lot of adopted problems. You know, I've adopted problems since I've been over here. So. And it's what you're going to do with it, not to complain about it. It's like what you're going to do. And I had to slow down. All these brothers right here are mentors to me. I learned to work from them. I sat at meetings and still sit at meetings quiet, like the word says, and listen. And I see what they do, and I see how they do it, and I see sometimes when my work ethic goes a little haywire, I go back and regroup. You know, even we've had a whole lot of conversations where, you know, the young side of me and the emotional side of me just go haywire, and I'm ready to just burn the town down. But it's all in the learning phase, and we got to continue to identify problems like we do and seek the solution and stop spending so much time on the problem. We got decades of problems. We need to go ahead and dig into the solutions.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm such an instigator, I'd give you the match. Okay, really, because, sister, hey, look, I've been at this a long time. And too old for school, this ain't recess. We serious as a heart attack. The young people say, sister, serious as a heart attack on top of a stroke. And they're right. They're right. I've been committed to this since I stopped being scared.
Yeah.
I stopped being afraid. Shooting in bullets coming down our block, in our home, in our neighbor's home. Nobody was safe. Nobody was safe. And it's a pattern that repeated itself all over my community. And it's like, something's wrong here, Lord. Something's wrong. And what can I do? And the Holy Spirit told me I could use that mouth.
Yeah.
You like to talk, you like to fuss, you like to act the fool.
And what you're doing right now, sister, you dragging tissue out the bathroom. Because right now we talking so much about problems that still exist right now. And we're trying to celebrate you moving forward. But we have so many issues going on. We got the young man in Torrance. We got meetings every Tuesday that we need mothers to go support that mother with. Every Tuesday we showing up. You know, it's a lot of different groups. We collaborating with Black Lives Matter. We doing a march Saturday at CNN in Hollywood. Voices need to be heard as one, not a whole bunch of hooping and hollering. One voice with many voices. That's what needs to happen with this unity thing.
I agree. But I'm going to go back to what ceasefire's original motto was. It's okay to disagree, but you cannot be disagreeable. See, that's a very big issue. It's okay for us not to agree, but we can't fight each other about that. We have to find a common ground. And I just take you to the whole picture. This is how we lost our communication. So now what we're trying to do now is find a new communication that's workable. Is it perfected? No, because we're imperfect. We're coming from different backgrounds. We're bringing our own pain and hurt and history and memories. And memories. And the hardest thing to challenge to meet is the memories that bring pain. That's the hardest one. And you lose people. You lose people because of that. They can't get past the pain, and because of the pain, they're never going to let go of the memory. You see? So this is why we have to look at the bigger picture and forgive the new people for not knowing that it takes all of this to do this work.
And go back to the protocol. We got to let the elders sit in for us and be that voice of reasoning.
That's right.
We need that. We need that center hedge of protection. We need that elderly voice.
What? Truthfully, I've talked so much, y'all don't want to hear me anymore. And the truth is,
we got Kate. We got Kate.
And it's
y'all are so wrong. This
Put it in the middle. Gotta slide it over.
Feels so
right.
Wow.
This is what we're here for.
So we here for.
This is what we're here for.
Pay homage to the legend.
No matter how big or maybe you always
Here's some gifts.
No matter how big the crowd may be, you always stand out. There's no other angel who has worked as hard for us as hard as you have the last years. A lot of us people fail what you accomplished simply because they were busy finding problems where you were busy finding solutions. Well done. And stay for being, and thank you for being the key to open our doors. You played a major role behind our success. The things that I have learned from you are implaceable.
That's your heart.
It's because of your hard work only that I stand here.
Girl, I don't know who you talking about, but
And
if
the
you
best
start
wishes
crying, I'm
for
going to
you.
smack you.
I'm sorry. Thank you for being a part of our life. Thank you.
And look, let me put this fire out before we start something, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's only one candle. All right. Oh, girl.
I just want to say it's just been an honor to work with you, sister. You're an amazing woman, and I'm so glad that I was a part of your journey.
Yeah.
And we're always here if you ever need us. If you ever decide you want to come back, you know we're here for you. And thank you so much for all your work and dedication and community and your feistiness, your everything. So thank you, sister. I appreciate you.
I don't know who y'all are talking about, but I'm so happy right now.
Blow your candle out so Sheena can cut the cake for all of us that would live. Slice.
Because you know what I'm wishing for.
You wish to come back on January 3rd, 2019?
I'm wishing you would.
Oh, no.
Okay, see?
There
you go.
Oh, look at that.
This is for the angel you are.
You're the angel.
Wow.
And you take different flavors. Brown, black, white.
That is so nice.
Wonderful.
This is what you represent from all the mothers of all colors.
Wow.
This is what you did.
That is so nice.
When we came to you.
You know, you've been an angel to me. You really have.
When we came to you.
You know, in fairness to this work.
I know I'm an intervention specialist.
No, you know what?
But I'm still a mother.
I started with the mothers, okay?
Yes, you
and
did.
We walked and marched and cried.
Every time
and
one of our
carried
kids was
banners
murdered,
and marched
you
and
was
walked
there.
and cried. And, you know, then the men came. And they saw us marching and walking and crying. And they knew that they needed to come home and fix this.
When my second
and that's
son
been
died
the blessing. That's
in
been the
60
blessing
days,
that we've received, is to have
she
our
was
men
there.
come home and help us fix what's been broken.
Yes.
That's been the biggest gift in this. next to walking with you.
You say get up.
Okay, next to walking with you.
Move on. We got to help somebody else.
Yes.
I remember that.
Look how we've come full circle.
Yeah.
Look how we've come full circle. And I
Yes,
just have
you
to
did.
say God's been good.
And thank you.
He's been good. And thanks to God, we got a chance to come here to Morris Media.
Yeah.
And the blessing is that these shows are posted on YouTube. There's a catalog for it because in the radio days, it went out in the airwaves, and that's where it landed, in the airwaves at 1:30 minutes and gone forever. But this is a promise kept, and a promise that can continue. You just need to get the folks that are willing vessels to come on in here and take this seat.
We got 1 minute, sister.
Okay.
1 minute.
I don't mind being a guest, but come on.
No, I just want to let everybody know we got 1 minute. So if you guys
Thank
say
you.
something, I just want to say bye, Felicia.
I'll see you at the next meeting. Felicia, we love you. Thank you. You've been with us so long.
You gonna sing us out this time?
I can't sing. Let the brother I never wanted sing.
That sound like ooh-wee.
Well, Skip said we had 1 minute.
Please.
The last chance.
Here, look, when you get next to taco, you do like this. You say ooh-wee, and you give him one of these.
And thank you for everybody in here. Continue doing the work for the intervention, prevention, trauma, counseling, everything we need for the sisters. They helping. The mothers is working hard.
Yes.
The mothers is working real hard.
Yes. And the men are working real hard too. And I just want to thank you for it.
The men is working, and I just want to say thank you for inviting me onto your show. I thank all of you guys.
And
my community partner. That's my community partner.
James Farmer.
And I just want other mothers to be able to tell their story and be heard.
Yes.
That's my purpose. I have found my purpose in life.
Yes.
And there's so many of them.
Yes.
Y'all keep your head to the sky.
Yes. God bless you, community family. Thank you for listening.
Thank you,
and
Felicia.
what a blessing tonight has been. Thank you, Lord.
Remember, Paul with his peace.
We're not trying to hog any
No, but I got a problem.